adopted, and I'm so happy to present to you Chapter 9 of The Twisted Ones. I had to go up in the attic and, like, okay, this is very embarrassing. What happened was, I tried to go up in the attic earlier to pack some stuff up and to grab my books, the three books, because Marley wanted the first one, and I wanted all three of them down here with me so that I knew where they were. And I went up, and there was wasps. What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out where I left off that I can remember, because I don't want to reread something I've already read.
She's reading the first one, by the way. So
yeah,
then
that's why it's silent.
Yeah. So I went up there. There's like tons of wasps, and I actually got frozen up there. And like you don't think that it's serious when you actually you can get frozen in fear. It's actually kind of funny when someone does when you see it, but when you aren't, it's not funny at all because you can't move without screaming. So my dad, actually my mom, no, dad sprayed it, and then we were gonna go grab them last night, and then there were still wasps, so we waited for them to die a little bit longer, and by a little bit longer, I mean a whole night. And
more like 2 days.
A whole night. Because it was going to be last night, remember?
Oh, yeah.
So finally, we have the Twisted Ones back, and I know I haven't read this since February, March, because I have one of my Valentines as a bookmark, because the other bookmark's buried in my backpack, I think, somewhere. But yeah, I thought Chapter 9 of this would be the perfect day to end. Yeah, it is Marla, isn't it? It's Marla. Sorry, names. Because she hasn't shown up in this book yet. Hopefully she will. But yeah. So that's us begin. Trying to freaking see what I'm using Marley's phone as a flashlight. It's bad. Because my light decided to be a jerk and melt.
Marla, Jessica, Charlie.
Lamar and Jason. And
Carlton, John, and Michael.
Michael? No. Michael's the dead one.
Yeah, but those are just the names that were just read off that she remembered.
Carlton,
Charlie repeated their
Jason.
names
Jason.
though to reassure herself that she could still remember them. Those
Shush.
Shut up.
I think I live streamed that once, and that was my idea. Hey, I should read this whole book on it. So yeah. Anyways, Chapter 9. Professor Treadwell seemed restless. Her face was calm as ever, but as the students worked, she paced back and forth across the auditorium stage, the heels of her shoes making repetitive click. Artie poked Charlie, nodded it towards the professor, and quickly mimed screaming. Charlie smiled and turned back to her own work. She didn't mind the sound. The professor's sharp, regular steps were like a metronome, marking the time. She reread the first question, described the difference between a conditional loop and an infinite loop. Charlie sighed. She knew the answer. It just seemed pointless to write it down. A conditional loop depends only on certain conditions, and she started. Then scratched it out and sighed again, staring over the heads of the other students. She could see the face of the wolf again, shimmering back and forth between two faces, the illusion of the frame beneath it. Its eyes stared into her own, as if reading something deep inside her. Who are you? Who were you supposed to be? She thought. She had never seen it before, and it worried her. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza didn't have a wolf. Charlie had a near photographic memory she'd realized last year. It was the reason she had such recall of her early childhood. She didn't remember the wolf. That's silly, she told herself. There's plenty you don't remember. And yet her memories of her father's workshop were so strong. The smell, the heat, her father bent over the workbench, and the place in the corner where he didn't like to look. It was all so present within her, so immediate. Even this thing she didn't remember without prompting, like the old Fredbear's Family Diner, had been instantly familiar as soon as she'd seen them. Yet these creatures had no foothold in her memory. She didn't know them, but they clearly knew her. Why were they be entombed in the back of the house like that? Why not just destroyed? Her father's deep attachment to his creations had never outweighed his pragmatism. If something didn't work, he dismantled it for parts. He had done the same with Charlie's own toys. She blinked, suddenly recalling. He held it out to her, a little green frog with horn-rimmed glasses over its bulging eyes. Charlie looked at it skeptically. "No," she said. "Don't you want it? Don't you see what it does?" her father protested, as she crossed her arms and shook her head. "No," she mumbled. "I don't like the big eyes." Despite her protests, as her father set the frog on the ground in front of her, and pressed the button hidden beneath the plastic at its neck. It rotated its head from side to side and suddenly leaped into the air. Charlie screamed and jumped back, and her father rushed to pick her up. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. It's okay," he whispered. "I didn't mean for that to startle you." "I don't like the eyes," she sobbed again, against his neck, and he held her for a long moment, then set her down and picked up the frog. He put it on his workbench and took a short knife from the shelf and sliced its skin along its entire length. Charlie clapped at the hand over her mouth and made a small squeaking sound, watching wide-eyed as he carelessly peeled the green casing off the robot. The plastic split it with a loud cracking noise in the quiet workshop. The frog's legs kicked helplessly. "I didn't mean it," she said hoarsely. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it, Daddy." She was speaking aloud, but it was mostly air. Her voice was somehow contained, like in dreams where she had tried to scream, but nothing came out. Her father was intent on his work and didn't seem to hear. The stripped-down robot lay before him on the bench. He prodded it and it made a horrible twitch, its back legs kicking out uselessly, repeating the motion of its leap in the air. It tried again, more frantically, like it was in pain. "Wait, Daddy, don't hurt him," Charlie mouthed, trying and failing to force out a sound. Her father selected a tiny screwdriver and began to work on the frog's head, deftly unscrewing something on each side. He removed the back of the skull to reach inside. Its whole body convulsed. Charlie ran to her father's side and grabbed his leg, tugging at the knee of his pants. "Please!" she cried. Her voice was returning. He disconnected something from the skeleton, and he disconnected something. The skeleton was completely limp. Joints that had been stiff collapsed into a slump of parts. The eyes, which Charlie had not even noticed were lit, dimmed, flickered, and went dark. She let go of her father, moved back into the recess of the workshop, putting both hands over her mouth again so she would not hear her cry as he began to methodically dismantle the frog. Charlie shook her head, pulling herself back up to the present. As the child's guilt still clung to her, like a weight in her chest. She gently pressed her hand there. My father was pragmatic, she thought. Parts were expensive, and he didn't waste them on things that didn't work. She forced her mind into the problem at hand. So why did he have to bury them alive? "Bury who alive?" Artie hissed, and she turned, startled. "Shouldn't you be busy doing something?" she said hastily, before mortified to have spoken aloud. The creatures had been buried in a chamber like a mausoleum. Ugh, that was bad. Hidden in the walls of the house. Her father hadn't and wanted to destroy them, and for some reason he had wanted them nearby. Why? So he could keep an eye on them? Or did he even know they were there? Did Dave somehow hide them there without his knowledge? She shook her head. It didn't matter. What mattered was what the creatures were going to do next. She closed her eyes, trying to envision the wolf-like creature. She'd only seen it for a moment, as it disgorged the woman inside it and hovered between states, its illusion flickering like a faulty light bulb. Charlie held on to the image, kept it frozen in her mind. She'd been fixated at first on the victim, then on the wolf's eyes, but she had still seen the rest of it. Now she pictured the scene, ignoring the wolf's gaze, ignoring the panic that had seized her, the others shouting and running around her. She watched it happen again and again, picturing the chest sliding open in one tooth-like rib at a time, and the woman falling out. She realized she had a better picture of the same thing being stored away, the creature in the tomb, just before or it tried to swallow her. She visualized its chest opening, searching her mind to see what lay beyond the hideous mouth. Inside the carnivorous chest, or cavernous chest. Yes. Then she bent her head over her exam book and began to draw. "Time," called one of the graduate students. The other three began to march up the aisles, collecting blue books one by one. Charlie only half a sentence in the answer and took the first question, and it was crossed out. The rest of the book was a mess of mechanisms and monsters. Just before the teaching assistant reached her, she quietly tucked her book under her arm. She exited the row, bending in with the students who had already finished. She didn't speak to anyone on the way out, drifting in more than walking, focused on her own thoughts as her body carried her aimlessly down the familiar hallway. She found a bench and sat. She looked around the passing students, chatting to one another or lost in thoughts of their own. It was as if a wall had risen up, circling only her, completely isolating her from everything around her. She opened her book again, and to a page where she'd spent the rest of her time scribbling. There, staring back at her, were faces she understood, the faces of monsters and murderers, with blank eyes that pierced right through her, even from her own sketches. "What are you trying to tell me?" She stood, clenching her book, then took one last look at her surroundings. It felt as though she were saying goodbye to the chapter of her life, another passage that would become nothing more than a haunting memory. "Charlie?" John's voice said from nearby. She glanced around, trying to find him through the thick flow of students exiting the building. She finally spotted him off to the side of the stairs. "Oh, hey!" she called, and made her way over. "What are you doing here? Not that I'm not glad to see you. I just you had to work," she added hastily, trying to settle all the whirling thoughts in her head. "Clay called me. He tried at your dorm, but you were here, I guess. The woman from last night. She's going to be okay," he said. He said he went into the next area, the next spot on the map, and drove around. John glanced at the crowd of students streaming past and lowered his voice. "You know the next place they're going to." "I know," Charlie said quickly, forestalling in an explanation. "What did he find?" "Well, it's a lot of empty space. It's fields mostly. One plot for future development, but it's vacant. He thinks we should focus on tomorrow instead. He has a plan." Jerry looked at him blankly. "We're going to have to fight them," he said at last. "We both know of that, but it won't be tonight." Charlie nodded. "So what do we do tonight then?" she asked helplessly. "Dinner?" John suggested. "You can't be serious." Charlie's tone dropped. "I know there's a lot going on, but we still need to eat, right?" Charlie stared right at the ground, collecting her thoughts. "Sure, dinner." She smiled. "This is all pretty awful. It might be nice to get my mind off it, even if just for an evening." "Okay," he said, shifted awkwardly. "I'm going to run home and change. I won't be long." "John, none of this has to involve you," Charlie said softly. She gripped the straps of her backpack and with both hands, as if they were tethering her to the ground. "What are you talking about?" John looked up at her, his self-consciousness gone. "It doesn't involve anyone. It's me they're looking for." "We don't know that for sure," he said. He put his hand on her shoulder. "You'll have to get that out of your head for a while. You'll drive yourself crazy." John smiled briefly, but he still looked worried. "Try to do something relaxing for a bit. Take a nap or something. I'll see you for dinner, okay? Same restaurant at 7? "Okay," she echoed. He looked at her helplessly and gave a distressed smile and turned and went. Jessica was gone when Charlie got up back to the dorm. She closed the door behind her with a sense of relief. She needed quiet, she needed to think, and she needed to move. She looked around, paralyzed for a moment. Her system of piling everything up as she used it was functional day to day, but when searching for something she hadn't touched in weeks, the system broke down. Aren't you wondering for a second? Wow, where's she?
8 more pages.
Woo! Where is it? She muttered, scanning the room. Her eyes lit on Theodore's head, lying tumbled up against the leg of her bed. She picked it up and brushed off. What?
I just read about Theodore.
Theodore's head lying tumbled up against the leg of her bed. She picked it up and brushed off the dust, stroking its long ears until they were clean. If matted, it didn't patch you. You used to be so soft, she told the rabbit's head. She set it on the bed and propped it up on a pillow. I guess I did too, she added and sighed. Have you seen my duffel bag? She asked the dismembered toy. Maybe under the bed. She got down on her knees and checked. There it was there, all the way at the far side, crushed by a pile of books and clothing that had fallen through the space between the bed and the wall. Charlie wiggled her arm under the bed until she could snag the strap, then dragged it out and set it on top. It was empty. She dumped out the contents as soon as she arrived. A harbinger of messy habits to follow. She grabbed her toothbrush and toothpaste and set them into a bag's side pocket. I lied to John, she said. No, that's not right. I let him lie to me. He knows that they're coming for me. We all do. And this isn't going to stop.
Can you girls go out and see if you can get Marco to come in? I can't get him to come in. My back's killing me.
Alright.
He's just outside. He won't come in.
I'm sorry, guys. You want to go do it?
Okay.
Pencil? So you use that bookmark? I'm sorry about that, guys. My mother, we're babysitting my sister's dog, and there's my bookmark. There's my bookmark. And this isn't going to stop me. She picked up clothing from what she thought was a clean pile, pulling out a t-shirt and jeans, socks and underwear, and shoving them emphatically into her bag as she spoke. Why else would they be coming in this direction? She asked the rabbit. But how would they even know? She threw two textbooks into her bag and patted her pocket, reassuring herself that the disc and the diagnostic keyboard were there. She zipped up the plastic bag and tilted her head, meeting Theodore's plastic eyes. It's not just that, she said. This thing. She measured the disc. She measured the disc in her hand and studied it anew. It made John sick, but it seemed sound to me. She broke off, unsure what that meant about her. I don't know if I've even known anything with quite such uncertainty, she said quietly, but I have to do this. Afton made them, and Afton took salmon. When I was with John, I could feel something in the house. It had to be him. It was like the missing part of me. He was there, closer than it had ever been. I just couldn't quite reach it, and I think those monsters are the only things in the world that might have answers.
He's in.
Awesome. Theodore stared back at her, unmoved. It's me they want. No one else is going to die because of me. She sighed. At least I have to protect you. At least I have you to protect me, right? She flung her bag over her back and turned to go, then paused. She grabbed Theodore's head by the ears and held him up to her own eye level. I think today I need all the support I can get, she whispered, and shoved him into her bag, then hurried to the dorm, to her car. The map was in the glove compartment. Charlie took it out and spread it across the front of her, glancing at it momentarily before putting it away with confidence. She drove slowly out of the lot, though she passed other people and cars on her way. She felt as though she was just part of the background, unseen by the world. By this time, she and her car were slipped out of sight. She had already been forgotten. The sky was cloudy. It gave the world a sense of waiting. It seemed like Charlie had rolled herself off, and peacefulness overtook her. She'd been preoccupied with isolation today, but the speed and openness it was comforting. She didn't feel alone. The tree line seemed to race across the field when she watched it from the window, an illusion made by speeding car. She began and to feel as though there was something in the woods matching her speed, darting through the blur of branches and silent companion, and someone coming to tell her everything that she ever wanted to know. "I'm coming," she whispered. The street dwindled from highway to a country road, then to a gravel path. It rose up a long hill, and as Charlie slowly ascended it, she could see clusters of houses and cars in distant, more populated areas. She turned the corner and left it all behind. There were no more houses, no more cars. The rows of trees had been replaced with lines of stumps and piles of brush, accompanied by the occasional blank billboard. Presumably, it would someday announce what was to come. Slabs of concrete and half-paved driveways interrupted the countryside, and the abandoned bulldozer sat in the distance. Charlie took Theodora's head from the bag and set it on the passenger seat. "Stay alert," she said. Then she saw it. A single ranch-style house stood in the center of it all, surrounded by bulldozed land and bare rib cages of half-built houses just jutting from the ground. It was out of place, painted, fenced, and even planted with flowers in the garden. That's when it made sense. A show house. The road stopped a few yards into development, and replaced by worn-down tracks in the dirt where the machinery came in and out. Charlie slowed her car to a stop. "Even you can't follow me in this time," she said to the rabbit's head, then got out and closed the door, giving Theodore a smile through the window. Charlie walked the trail slowly. The hulking, unfinished frames of the houses just seemed to watch her reproachfully. As she trespassed, the gravel crunched under her feet, eating silence. There wasn't even a breeze. Everything was still. She stopped when she reached the higher ground and surveyed her surroundings for a moment. Everything was disturbed. Everything was upturned. She glanced above her as a single bird passed overhead, barely visible from its soaring height. Her eyes returned to the wasteland. "You're here somewhere, aren't you?" At last she reached the lone finished house. It was set at the center of a neat square of perfectly trimmed grass. Towering above of it stooped half-constructed neighbors. Charlie stared at the lawn for a moment before realizing that it must be fake, just like whatever furniture was inside. She didn't try to eye the door right away, instead going around to the backyard and laid out in a square of astroturf, just like the front. But here the illusion had been ruined. Ragged strips of grass had been torn off. The place radiated the sense of distress, now eerily familiar. Charlie he just stared at her for a moment, and certainly pulsing through her. She clenched her jaw, then went back out around to the front door. It opened easily, without even a whisper of sound, and Charlie went inside. It was dark in the house. She flipped on a light switch experimentally, and it illuminated the whole place in an instant. A fully furnished living room greeted her, complete with leather chairs and a couch, even candles and fireplace mantel. She started to close the front door behind her, then hesitated, leaving it ajar. She walked farther into the living room, where there was an L-shaped couch and a widescreen TV. surprised it hasn't been stolen, she thought. But when she rose closer, she saw why. It wasn't real. There were no cords or cables coming from it. The whole place had a real quality, almost of mockery. She walked slowly to the dining room, her feet clapping against the polished hardwood floor, or inside a beautiful mahogany dining set. Charlie bent over to look at the underside of the table. Balsa wood, she said, grinning to herself. It was a light, airy wood made for model airplanes, not furniture. She could probably lift the table over her head if she wanted to. Down a short hallway from the dining room in was a kitchen with gleaming new appliances, or at least imitations of them. There was also a back door in the kitchen. She unlocked it and pushed it open halfway, leaning outside and looking again at the expansive, tortured landscape. There were several stone steps here, leading down into a small garden. She stepped back again, being sure to leave the door hanging slightly open. There was a second hall off the living room. This led to the bedrooms and small room fashioned into the office or den, complete with tall bookshelves, a desk, and an inbox tray full of empty file folders. Charlie sat down on a desk chair, finding herself enchanted by the utterly surface imitation of life. She spun the chair once, then stood again, not wanting to get distracted. There was a door to the outside here too, though it was oddly placed beside the desk. Charlie opened it, fiddling with the latch until she wasn't sure it would stay open. She continued on her way, walking through the house systematically, unlocking and opening each window she came to. Then she went down to the basement, and where a storm cellar hung over a set of steep stone stairs. She opened that as well, leaving the doors gaping wide. Outside, dark had fallen. There were several bedrooms, each furnished and made up with bright curtains and silk sheets. The large bathroom with marble sinks. Charlie turned to the faucet to see if there was water, but nothing happened. Not even the grinding of pipes, trying and failing. There was a master bedroom with an enormous bed, a guest room that somehow looked even less lived in than the rest of the house, and a nursery with a life-size menagerie painted on the wall with a mobile hanging above the crib. Charlie glanced inside each, then went back into the master bedroom. The bed was wide and covered with a light canopy of white mosquito netting. The covers were white as well, and the moon shone through the window and illuminated the pillows. It had an uncanny effect, as if whoever slept there would be on display. Charlie went to the window and leaned out, breathing in the soothing, cool night air. She looked up at the sky. It was still cloudy, and there were only a few stars visible. She'd been moving with such grim and impulsive energy until now. But this part would be agonizing. Long hours might pass before anything happened, and all she could do was wait. A nervous fluttering began to fill her stomach. She wanted to pace, or even run away. She closed her eyes and clenched her jaw. It's me they want. At last, Charlie pulled herself away from the window. She had packed pajamas out of the car, but the sterile house was full of props, and invitation felt too strange for her to actually dress for bed. Instead, she just took off her sneakers and considered her bedtime rituals complete. She laid down on the bed and tried to conjure her nightmares, gathering up those final moments with Sammy, holding them close to her like a talisman. Hold on, she thought. I'm coming. John checked his watch. She's running late, but he was late last time. But she was late last time too. The waitress caught his eye, and he shook his head. Of course, last time she showed up covered in filth. He already called her dorm room, but her phone just rang and rang. He'd seen what he thought was the answering machine when he was there, but realized only as he was waiting for it to pick up that it could have been one of Charlie's projects, or some piece of discarded junk. Then the waitress refilled his water glass, and he smiled at her. She shook her head again. Same girl, she added gently. John let out an involuntary laugh. Yes, same girl, he said. But it's okay. She's not standing me up. She's just busy. College life, you know. Of course. Let me know if you want to order. She gave him another look of pity and went away. He shook his head. Suddenly he saw Charlie's hands on her backpack strap, holding on so tight her knuckles had gone white. They're coming for me, she said. Charlie wasn't the type to wait around patiently for something to happen to her. He got up and walked urgently to the payphone at the back of the restaurant. Clay picked up on the first ring. Clay, it's John. Have you heard from Charlie? No. What's wrong? Nothing, John said reflectively. I mean, I don't know. She was supposed to meet me, and she's 24 minutes late. I know it's not a lot, but she said it's something earlier that's bothering me. I think she might do something stupid. Where are you? John gave him the address. I'll be right there, Clay said, and hung up before John could even reply. Ooh, about just trying to figure out how many chapters are in this one compared to the original. I don't know how many chapters. The first book has 13. I know that, but it's the chapter 4. This has 14 chapters, so 4 more chapters to go, guys. We're making great headway. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. I'm sorry this wasn't a live stream. My tablet's being jerkwaddy. And this is just, this next month is going to be super busy, so there's going to be a lot of videos of me either reading, a really quick drawing maybe, or just me talking about some stuff, because we have so many things. Like, we have our annuals for cadets, we have Niagara Falls. Like, I'm probably going to do a vlog for Niagara Falls with Marley, because it's a grade 8 grad trip. Yeah, grade 8. See you later, guys. See you at powwow. I have all these things.
Bro, give me my phone.
I'm just turning off the flashlight. We have all these things to go to, and it's gonna be exciting. So there's gonna be a lot of reading this month, a lot of drawing this month, and maybe a lot of, like, probably more reading. We might actually be able to finish this book off in like a week, and then I'm not sure if I want to start the fourth closet, because if I start the fourth closet and read it to you guys on the channel, then I can't bring it to go to camp, which absolutely sucks. But I'll think about it. I might just do Twisted Ones with you guys and read the other one by myself at camp this year. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this. I'm the Little Skeleton Wizard. That was chapter 9 of the Twisted Ones. We only have 4 more chapters to go. We can do this. Alright. See you later, guys. Peace out.